And I can also bring you this news as well. Clarence House have just announced in the last few seconds that Prince Harry is to marry his American girlfriend, Meghan Markle. Congratulations to them. Prince Harry is going to marry his American actress girlfriend, Meghan Markle. That just in from Clarence House. You'll know that there's been speculation for months, particularly when it was reported that she was moving her dogs from Canada to Britain, which some people took as absolute confirmation that, of course, they were going to get engaged to be married, because otherwise, why would you be moving your dogs so far from home? I mean, those kind of engagement rumours have been at fever pitch, depending on which website or newspaper you read. But it has been confirmed in the last few seconds from Clarence House that Prince Harry is going to get married, and he's marrying his American actress girlfriend, Meghan Markle. It wasn't that long ago that he actually warned the media off reporting on her every move, it seemed. He sent out a very strongly worded statement that they should effectively leave her alone. Clearly, with the experience of what happened to his own mother, he stepped in very early on to effectively urge for her privacy. I suspect that websites, broadcasters, radio stations, newspapers will just be full of this news, though, despite that plea from 6 months or so ago, because Prince Harry is going to marry his girlfriend, Meghan Markle. Obviously, we will bring you a reaction to that news. Certainly some websites and newspapers were very much on standby for this, because quite a lot of people like a royal wedding, don't they? It doesn't say when in this statement. It's a really short statement from Clarence House, just that they are to get married. Potentially next year, you'd have thought, wouldn't you? Prince Harry is going to marry Meghan Markle. That news confirmed by Clarence House. So that is the confirmation of their engagement. No details as to when or where. They have been going out for over a year or so, if my memory serves me correctly. And the rumours around whether they were going to get engaged or not at fever pitch, certainly in some newspapers. I'm just going to bring you a few more details about the both of them, if you'll bear with me 1 second. You may have read in one of the Sunday papers that it was supposed to have been announced last Thursday, because apparently the Prime Minister, Theresa May, had cleared her schedule for a possible engagement announcement. That obviously didn't happen. And they've just announced it in the last few minutes. Prince Harry is to marry Meghan Markle. And our royal editor, Nicholas Witchell, is here on his phone. Hello.
Good morning.
It's good news. Prince Harry's getting married. Hooray!
Finally they've announced it. Yes. You've just noticed, given all the details. So the wedding in spring of next year.
Okay.
Further details about the wedding will be announced in due course. They became engaged apparently earlier this month, so in London. So we don't know much more about that. Prince Harry has informed the Queen and other close members of his family. This is all from the Clarence House statement just issued. Prince Harry has also sought and received the blessing of Miss Markle's parents, who, of course, are in the United States. The couple will live at Nottingham Cottage at Kensington Palace. So there we are. A wedding in the spring, presumably after the arrival of his brother's new baby.
Yes.
So, yes, busy spring.
OK, so where it will be Westminster Abbey or St Paul's?
Well, we don't know. I mean, that, of course, raises the interesting question as to whether it can be a church wedding, because she is a divorcee. It then becomes a matter, really, for the Archbishop of Canterbury. Now, Archbishop Welby has indicated that he is not averse to the idea of a church wedding. And I think it is possible for the church, given that clearly Harry was not involved in the breakup of her marriage. I mean, they didn't even know each other at the time. So, you know, it is another indication of how far the British establishment has moved, that the Church of England quite possibly will sanction and perform a church wedding. The other, of course, really striking thing is here is a significant member of the royal family marrying an American divorcee, who is, as she says, proudly a strong, confident, mixed-race woman. I mean, that's the other extraordinary thing. All the connotations, all the resonance of an American divorcee caused one king to give up his throne. I mean, we're talking, what,
a long time
80,
ago.
90 years ago,
Yeah.
80 years ago.
Yeah.
But, you know, within the royal family, there would be just that sort of, but it is sending a very strong signal of how far society, the royal family, all of us have moved, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the royal family, specifically, how far they have moved, perhaps less so for society. But that question of whether they will be married in a church, because she is a divorcee, my understanding is it's down to the parish vicar.
Yes.
It's an individual decision, because each
Yes.
Church of England parish has its own rules depending on how liberal or otherwise the vicar is.
I mean, Westminster Abbey, you get into all this kind of church structure. Westminster Abbey is what's known as a royal peculiar. So, I mean, the Dean of Westminster can essentially do what he likes. But I think in this instance, it will be a matter for the Archbishop to decide. It would be very curious for them to go off to some small parish somewhere. Now, you know, there are all sorts of candidates for a church wedding, if it is indeed to be a church wedding. St Paul's, Westminster Abbey, as you say. There's the Guards Chapel, which is much smaller, which was where, of course, Harry made a memorable speech on the 10th anniversary of his mother's death in that Guards Chapel there. There's also St George's Chapel at Windsor, which is a rather more sort of intimate setting, a rather smaller, more family-orientated environment. But these are the further details about the wedding day will be announced in due course. So
right.
I'm quite sure that, you know, they will have given close consideration to that. I've no doubt at all, actually, that the Archbishop Welby has already been consulted, because I think we were certainly hearing rumours that he'd been sounded out as to the possibility of there being a church wedding, and whether, in view of the fact that she is a divorcee, whether the Church of England would feel able to perform a church wedding. And I think, as I say, that he has indicated that it's not a problem.
How old is Prince Harry? Early 30s?
Well, he's 33, isn't he?
Right.
So she is a little bit... She's 36. So they met in June of last year. Father, of course, retired cameraman from Hollywood, and she an actress, as we know, though somewhat of a retired actress now.
Well, I mean, her life is going to change dramatically.
It is, yeah, and one might suppose that her acting career puts her in a rather better position to cope with the public-facing nature of the role that she's going to take on. And she clearly is motivated about having a sort of public career, you know, a charitable career. She's already quite noted for her contributions as a UN Woman of the Year or in that sort of forum. So she's quite confident, I think, about putting herself out there in the public domain, though I sense that there will need to be a kind of adjustment to the public domain here in the United Kingdom, rather than the public domain, as it were, in the United States, which is, of course, what she's used to. She spent very little time, I think, in this country, and she will just, being clearly the intelligent woman that she is, need to just a little bit of adaptation.
Yes, and it wasn't that long ago that he released a very strongly worded statement to members of the media, effectively asking them to back off following her around.
Yes. Indeed it was. I mean, it was, what about it, this time last year, I think, that that long statement was issued on his behalf. Whether it was entirely wise, in a sense, it was just perhaps, it sounded rather vexed, didn't it? But he was
felt
clearly...
strongly about it,
he
for obvious
did.
reasons.
Yeah, but, you know, members of the royal family feel strongly about all sorts of things, but they don't automatically put out a page-long statement. But clearly he was determined to protect her from some of the kind of innuendo that they felt was appearing in some of the coverage to do with her mixed-race ancestry. But then, of course, not so long ago, she gives an interview to an American magazine saying, yes, we're in love. So, you know, there's a little bit of a tension there. Volunteering yourself for an interview in a mass circulation American magazine and talking a little bit about your private life.
Yeah, but Nick, when you're in love, you're in love.
Yeah,
and she's in love with Prince Harry. Of course she wants to shout it from the rooftops.
Well, she did indeed, yes. So now we all know.
Yes.
They are engaged.
Yeah. So, the wedding in the spring.